Yo, y'all listening to Savage Media Radio, your number one source for underrated and non-viral topics, discussions, and news from the web and around the world. Think you can handle that much truth? Buckle up, bruh. It's about to get savage.
That's right, guys. That's right. We're back. Ooh, you know how we do. I know we're starting a little bit late. We have some major technical difficulties. We're really trying to make things happen so that you have the whole full team. But, things happen. The devil's always working hard to try to hold us down. But, we won't let him. Doesn't matter. Even if we get a little off to a late start, we're going to make it happen anyway because that's what we do. We keep it savage, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, this is Wednesday night. This is what we do each and every Wednesday that we have been doing for the last, couple months now at this point. And we thank you guys for tuning in and listening in, especially if you're tuning in via Spreaker.com and you signed in and you can chat with us and all of that. That's really shown us you really, really support us. So we really appreciate that. So let's kick it a little open and what's new, what's going on. I like to, I always pick with Carlos. Carlos got a lot of new content coming out lately. It comes right to my phone and I always see it, this last video you did, Carlos, with this, being in the car with your boyfriend and the relationship and using songs, eat the booty like groceries, you start. He played slap on my knob and you pull out coin. That was it. I'm done.
It was funny. No, the reason I started putting out so much content is because Instagram went back to their old algorithm, which just is like whoever posted, that's what you see first. So just get used to seeing my face because I have videos just waiting to post. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Instagram.
Oh shit! So you got it all figured out. You about to say I got all that? You must have got a guy that getting algorithms in the corner, like in the back room somewhere. Like, yo, I got you, Carlos. All these social media algorithms, I got you. When they change, I got you.
They do that for you on your little thing. It tells you like when to post, where to post, how to post. It does it.
I just don't pay attention to that. I guess I need to be paying attention because I'm gonna have to really call you outside of this, Carlos. We got to talk because you the man with the plan. I see what's going on here. Cool. Anything else, Carlos, outside of that, though? Because, I like to keep up with you. You just got a lot of things going
on. No. Just waiting for court. I have court next week on this whole court case that we've been going through the last couple of months. It feels like it's been months. It really has been months. So we're going to see. My attorney did a motion to dismiss. So either they're going to dismiss it or we're going to trial. So we'll have an update on that next week. But other than that, I've just been focusing on, like you said, putting out a whole lot of content.
Got it. Okay, cool. Let me ask you one quick question with the court thing, not to take up too much time. So after next week, you'll either be in trial or you'll either be dismissed. That's what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So can you, after all this is said and done, whether it's dismissed or, if you have to go to trial, then no, until it's over. But feel like, like a nice little 10-minute update or something. Just give us, it's been a process for you, and it's something I know a lot of us don't know a lot about some of the things that you may experience. I feel like for all the savage listeners out there, at some point we'll do like a little 10-minute, Carlos special or something. Just give us an update because we really care about what's going on with you in the court case.
And that's where I'm going to do a selfish plug. I actually do weekly updates on my YouTube. It's at Carlos Dillard. And you can actually, go. I go through the police reports. I go through everything in detail. You can get all of those details on my YouTube channel.
Boom. There it is, guys. If y'all listening and y'all want to know what's up, see, now we learned something new. All right, Carlos, you always own it. I'm moving away from you. Skip on over you from this point on. Moving next. We're going to move on to Doug. Doug, how we doing, Doug?
I'm doing so good. I hope you're doing well. It's a great day in Los Angeles, 80 degrees and just rocking. So hopefully
you just had to put the weather in there, didn't you?
I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm looking, I'm writing my memoirs and staring out the window and, it's a good thing. I took the kids to see Black Panther over the weekend, which was freaking phenomenal. It was wonderful. And I loved it because it was the first time that I can remember, maybe the first time in history where a strong black character is leading one of these superhero things. And I was like, fuck, we're making progress. I love it. And obviously people love it because it's dominating in the box office. And it's great. So check out Black Panther. It's great. And I love to see progress and different, not that hurdy-gurdy guys with broad shoulders and square jaws aren't cool too. That's great, whatever. But it's great to see people of color taking lead roles. I fucking love it. That's the way to go.
Hey, come on, savage, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, Doug, you know how you do. We definitely be looking forward to these updates that you have going on. I'll be looking forward to it. I was love listening to your voice. Yes, Miss Court, since your voice is, in the background, can you, anything new, anything exciting? Can you take a deep breath now? The show's over.
You know exactly what we did this weekend. So you know exactly exactly how I am. That bullshit.
Yo, I definitely learned. If I didn't know Courtney before, guys, I definitely know her now. So I got your back. Trust me. She's a boss lady. She don't play. Like putting together a whole event, like a Comic-Con event, baby, from start to finish is amazing. It's a lot of work. And when you get involved, you see for yourself. And I definitely got my hands dirty a little bit this weekend. So it was pretty cool.
I'm exhausted, but other than that, everything went well.
Yes.
And now it's back to normal, and I'm so relieved. I'm so excited because I get to, grow this podcast more and get some more branding out there because I have a lot more time. So I'm super excited. After I'm done sleeping, everything will be 100%.
Right, I was going to say that. Yeah, but she had, but first of all, in the sleeping, she didn't sleep for like 24 hours or 48 hours. Crazy. And we went out after the whole event, me and her, to celebrate the success of the event and, and just Savage and all the great things that we do. We had to show up Carlos and Brandon. So, we went out and had us a little, a little powwow and, and then, got back to business. And so it feels good. Thank you so much, Court. That was an awesome experience.
Coco, we missed you on Friday.
Tell her, Carlos. Tell her.
I missed you. And you know what? You left me high and dry, but you know what? That's a bad bitch move because you were like, you better figure it out, Carlos. I gave you instructions. You should have. And you know what? I'm so glad I wrote those instructions down because I was like, okay, and she said this step. Okay,
I'm so sorry I couldn't get back to you because I totally forgot and I had so much going on.
She would have told me to remind her, and she didn't tell me.
It literally was like either you gonna figure this out because she got too much to do, and I figured it out. So we still had a show on Friday. But no, I wanted to say I missed you on Friday. It was kind of hard doing the show by myself, but I'm excited for this Friday.
Shout out to you, Carlos, for that, holding it down all alone, making it happen anyway. Do you have like a great, awesome artist interview or something like that?
Yeah. I interviewed, his name's Untamed. He happens to be my brother. And we talked about, if you didn't listen to the episode on Friday, it's hilarious. It's really funny. We listened to some of his music. I was playing around with like little sound effects on the little app thing here. It was fun. It was a whole lot of fun. We were talking about baby kids and fighting kids with knives. It was a whole lot of fun. You should definitely check it out.
Oh, awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Check us out on Friday nights, Real Shit Fridays with Carlos and Coco. Whoop, whoop. That's a definitely awesome show. Also, Saturday nights, Free Yourself Saturdays with Troy Weeks Music. And, Coco's in the background, hanging in there, in and out, making it happen. This is what we do, guys. It's Savage Media Radio. This is Wednesday night, The Voices, and we're here to keep things moving because, we got things to talk about. So without further ado, I can't forget my job. I got to make sure, I say the things I'm supposed to say, say important. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to catch all of this broadcast, you can catch all of this broadcast here on Spreaker as well as SoundCloud, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. If you like our views and want to keep us talking, donations to the show are always appreciated via Patreon.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Google Plus for up-to-date info and discussions about previous and upcoming broadcasts. Plus, you can get the most up-to-date information right there on Spreaker.com with your amazing hosts from The Voices. All right, guys, we're going to kick things over to Savage Culture. Hey, Savage Culture. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We kick off each and every Wednesday with this segment here, and it's very important that I tell you guys each and every week I like to go with the flow and go with people are telling me what I'm feeling. And so this week's topic is definitely like a people's choice. It's something that popped up, in a conversation with a group of coworkers, and it's something that you really probably want to expect from a group of coworkers, but hey, it happens. So today's topic is this: porn. Does it really matter what your mate watches? And after watching it, does it change your view of them at all? This is what we're going to start off with. I got something else that we have time to get to, so I hope that we can. But porn, that's what we're talking about. I think it's something that, we all watch porn. At the end of the day, no matter who you are. I used to think that it was something that women really didn't watch porn until I started hanging around a lot of women and realized women watch porn more than women probably. It's kind of, women watch porn more than men probably. It's kind of crazy. But the topic came up because there was a group of women and a couple of guys mixed in at work talking about how women be looking at their men's porn on their phone. Like, one person's like, oh, yeah, my man, he watches that big booty porn. And one of my other coworkers is like, oh, yeah, my man, he watches that rape porn. She was a little confused at first. I'm like, rape porn? First of all, that's kind of scary. You might want to, backspace delete that. You might want to ask questions if rape porn. It's kind of, but then we got to talking about it. And she said, I asked questions, I talked to him about it. And he was like, oh, well, it's not about the rape. It's more like the aggressiveness of it. She was like, maybe you should look up aggressive sex, rough sex, something else. Just don't look up rape porn. It's kind of sends the wrong message. But then again, it's also, too, like, how do you tell someone, what to watch? It's their porn. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's their porn. Why judge them based on that? And so, in that, I said that to say, what do you guys think about this? Wait, before I get there.
Hey, Troy.
Yeah.
Hold on, I can hear.
Somebody just signed in or something.
Hold up. That sounds crazy. Hold on. All right, we're good now. I don't know what happened. Cool. I think someone's trying to call us.
So before I get, okay, cool. No worries. Before we get there, I have another coworker who I sent her the link and everything. I hope she's listening. And she's in the chat room. Say something. She might text me. She's listening. But she was one of the reasons. She was the main reason why I decided to talk about porn today, because she brought up a subject that made me a little bit like, what? She says. She was the same girl who said my boyfriend watches big booty porn. She said, if my boyfriend ever watches gay porn, I'm going to tell his whole family that he watches gay porn. And I was like, wait, hold up. Like, that's sort of a violation. Like, if someone's porn, they're watching what they want in their own privacy, in their own time. Why does it matter to you what they're watching? If he's not, telling you he wants to be gay, or he's like, wants to be with men, or says anything about it, why does that matter? But the reason, it wasn't even that fact. Like, the fact that she's going to violate him and tell him, oh, he watches gay porn. It was the fact that she watches gay porn too, but not men gay porn. She watches lesbian gay porn. So she watches lesbian gay porn, and she says, if I find my man watching gay porn, I'm going to tell his whole family. But you watch gay porn yourself, so I don't understand. Like, that is what took me over the top. So does it matter what porn your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner watches? Like, does that change your view of them at all because you went through their phone and actually saw what they watch? I'm curious. Can we start with you, Doug?
Me? Yeah.
It just came right. I don't know why.
No, I got it. I just got tossed right under the bus. I love
right there, real fast. Because you're married. Dude, this is curious.
Buckle up. Well, okay. So first off, Federica would never watch something like that. That's not her style. And I don't say like, ha ha ha. That's she's really watching it or whatever. Like, no. That's not her world at all. So I think I'm more like, nah on that. But do I think that it would matter one way or the other? No, I don't really think that it would matter one way or the other. If anything, it might give you some information on how to change things up in the bedroom.
Right, that's what I was looking at it as. Awesome. But before I got to ask you this question. In regards to my coworker who said, if my boyfriend watches gay porn, I'm going to tell his whole family he watches lesbian porn. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it's like I think that trying to embarrass people for what they watch is bad. I think with the exception of there's like definitely like some no-fly zones in that area. Like if you're into something that's really like kiddie porn or snuff films or something that's way over on the other side, I would throw red flags, and outing them to their family, I'm not sure that's the right approach, but that's an entirely different discussion. But as far as like, for consenting adults watching what they want to watch in their own privacy, let it be. People are going to do what they're going to do, what they're going to do. And so I think that outing somebody for that is kind of that's the only thing she's going to do. She's going to violate the guy's trust, and then he's just going to be doing shit behind her back.
Oh, just break up with her. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could. That's too touchy for me. I don't. Like, I thank you for responding. I just hope you're listening because I was just like, that blew my mind. I appreciate that. We're going to go to Courtney because we're going to get a female perspective.
Me?
On this thing. Of course, Courtney. I need to talk to you, Courtney. So first of all, porn. Does it really matter what your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your mate watches? Like, does it really matter?
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I hate it.
Here it is.
I hate it with a passion. I hate the whole world of it. I just don't. I feel like, especially if you're in a committed relationship, it shouldn't be a part of it because you have someone in real life. And like, especially for my husband, I'm always with him. We're always together. Like literally, if you want something, you could just ask me. It's not that deep. Like you don't have to go and watch anything to get off. Just let me know. So I really, I don't know. I don't delve into that world. And plus, we share everything. We share phones. We share computers. So like, there is nothing. There is like he doesn't watch and I don't watch it. So it's just not a part of our lives. So
Right.
it's just it is what it
Interesting.
is.
Got it. So you're saying it doesn't even matter because that's not even a part of what we got going on. Even
No,
though we
it's not my. It's not
hate
our
it.
life.
Got it. I understand. Listen, that's okay. You know, wait, all three of y'all are married. God damn it. There's no people who ran on the call tonight. Carlos. Hey, Carlos. Can you tell me about this? What do you think about porn? Doesn't matter what your man watches.
Did Carlos
Are you
come
there,
back?
Carlos? He did say he was coming back.
I think
If
it's
not,
just three of us.
it's Carlos is there somewhere. He sent him here, but I feel like porn. First of all, it's a touchy subject. Like for me to just be talking about porn posted off, I was kind of like, oh, they're talking about it. Like, okay, cool. But, it's someone else's, what your mind does in your mind. As a kid, you have imagination. You don't want to watch porn because you don't know what it is. You don't know that hey, you like, that has nothing it doesn't stimulate you in that area of your time. But, imagination is important. And so if someone watches porn, it doesn't like inhabit their life and they don't have an issue where, takes over. It's like the side chick or the side nigga. Then that's cool, as long as it doesn't take over their life and it's something that, gets in the way of things. Why does it matter? Like, go ahead unless, like, my thing is I'm looking at it from Doug's point of view. Like, okay, well, if you like that, okay, well, if that's something that fits in with what I can do, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm down to try something new. That's going to keep things spicy, you feel me? Spice it up. But outside of that, mind your business. It's not your business what they watch. It's not your business what they watch. Let it be, let it go. And that's that. Carlos, are you here? Not yet? I got one more thing.
I think his mic is messed up. He said he's gonna. Oh wait.
Oh, he's coming back. He's trying. That's
all right.
Yeah,
I'm here now. Yeah, my mic is messed up on my computer, so I'm just gonna have to do.
We're just all having a fucking terrible day.
I know
it's a rough
sucks.
week.
I'm usually all prepared and stuff.
Come on, that's all right. You here and you sound good now.
I just told John.
Stay still.
What
I said we're all
is
having a rough week. Don't worry about it.
Actually, I did a shoot with Cut.com. Guess who was a sex worker? And for me personally, I don't care if my husband watches it or not. But I got an interesting point from I got to ask actual porn stars, how do they go home after they've had a long day of work? And
right.
What'd you say?
No, I said, right. That's a good question. Go ahead.
Yeah. And one of the girls, both of them, the girl and the guy, they both said, they're like, you know what? It's just work. Like, so when I come home, if my partner's horny, I just I go and I have sex with him. And I was like, but doesn't that is it sex or is it not sex? And it was just so cool how they just described it. And it's this is my job and I separate the difference. So I just think as far as your question is, I don't think it should be anyone's business, but I think the more interesting question is how do those people handle that,
Right, that is good. So the fact that you had that, I'm glad that we can look this up and watch it because you said you spoke, it was interviewed. So I think this is awesome that we can look into it. I'm definitely interested in this, see those kind of things because that's always something that's taboo. Porn, being a porn star and sex and all that, especially public where people can see your face and know who you are. So I know that's something that can, be, a little, uncomfortable. But before I'm gonna ask Carlos and Courtney. But what about Courtney? Because I already asked Doug. What do you think about what my coworker said about if she finds out her boyfriend's watching gay porn, she gonna out him to his family, and she watches lesbian porn?
That's stupid because, like you said, it is what it is. Whatever they want to watch. I mean, it's so funny because porn and anything that gets anyone aroused, it's for particular reasons for each different person. So they could like watching gay porn, but not be gay, not ever wanting to be gay. It just I don't know. It just happens. It's just things turn people off for some reason. It's like watching feet porn. You may love watching feet porn, but hate feet in real life because it just when you're in the moment, different things. You react to different things differently. So for her to say that that's stupid because if she watches it herself, or if whoever watches whatever for what reason is their own business. It's their own privacy of their own bedroom. They're just trying to pop one off real quick. It's no one's business. So I think that's ridiculous. I think it's not that deep, to be totally honest with you.
Come on. Let it go. I got you. Carlos, I want you to answer that question because I got something else to ask you that Courtney said something that popped up something else in my mind. So I want to make sure I get to that. What do you think about the whole, my coworker telling her, she's going to out her boyfriend if she finds he's watching gay porn, but she watched lesbian porn, rubbing titties and all that good old rubbing them pom pom together.
I mean, honestly, if you found your man watching gay porn, maybe he wants some dick. Like, I don't know. Like, who cares? Who cares? Like, and that you have a honestly, if he's watching gay porn, you got a better conversations that you need to have and make sure that like he's really happy with your vagina, and like because maybe you need to start questioning it. And I'm just playing. I think it doesn't matter. I think that like who says? I mean, it's very interesting, but hey, it's a niche, and if that's what you like, that's what you like.
Got you. So see, that leads me to one more thing that has to do with. So I found out in that whole topic, another thing that came up was a girl said, a coworker said, a friend of hers is a straight man who only, when it comes to sex, he likes to get it in the butt, but he's not a gay man. He said, I'm not gay. I'm a straight man. I just like to get done in the butt. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I like it in the booty. And so, that's the big debate. Are you gay? Is he gay? Is he not? Because he likes in the booty. He don't really be.
That's not a debate. Here's the thing. Stop labeling people. I don't care. Like, I don't even consider myself gay. I said this a lot of times. Like, I'm not. People will label me as gay, but I'm just a man who do manly shit, and I like to be like, fuck my best friend. Like, that's just who I am. And I'm married to him. Like, like, I don't like when people are like, oh, you're gay if you do this, you're gay if you do that, or you're straight. What define that talks like when we had our other conversation a couple shows ago. That goes into toxic masculinity, and that's how you get school shooters. Stop trying to label people.
That's a good way to put it. Wow. Okay, Carlos. Anybody else like you can jump in, Rolf? I know as far as timing wise, but like, does that make him gay? Does that make him like? What is it like? Especially from a woman's standpoint.
We got Brandon on now, so let him know a little bit of the situation.
Yes.
Maybe he can answer.
So Brandon,
chime in.
Yes, Brandon, come in. So basically, the question I was asking was, is a coworker. We were talking about porn, but my coworker also outside of the porn, we were talking about. She says she has a friend of hers who's a straight man who likes it in the booty, but he says, I'm not gay. I'm a straight man, but I just like it in the booty, and that's that. Like, I don't want to be the man, anything like that. I just like it in the booty. But does that make him gay?
No, it doesn't, because I actually know a guy. No, hell no, that don't make him gay. No, I know a guy that's straight, and he works at a club, a straight club, and he gets girls all the time. I've seen it. Hung out with him 1,000 times. We were really good friends, and that was his secret that he told me, that he likes to get trampled by a dildo, when he's with his girls.
But here's the thing, though.
What?
No, wait. I can't agree with you. I can't agree with you guys because we all know that the man's G-spot is inside the anus. Like, it's so every man, even if the gay or straight, once you penetrate them with something, is going to like it because it gives them an orgasm that you can do over and over and over. Now, if your girlfriend does it with a dildo versus, like Brandon says, a man, would you say Trump?
I'm
learning so much.
Like, that's different. That makes you gay. But if Coco's husband's like, hey, I want to have a really good erection and a really good fucking cum, and a really good
stick your finger in my butt. Right.
Can you stick this finger or can you stick this dildo in my butt? That doesn't make him gay.
But that's not happening.
I'm just saying. You're the only one with a husband here, okay? But like, if he was compared to like, if he's like, I'm gonna go sit on someone's dick, now that makes him gay. It's the action of actually doing with a man. Every man will like something in their butt because that's just human physiology,
Yeah.
Whoa. Wait, huh?
Did you not know that?
Wait, the last part about you said every man gonna like it in their butt, like that.
No, every man. No, your body, your G-spot, the human G-spot in the men is literally inside of your anus. Like it's in there. And if a gay man know what I'm talking about, we know you know what I'm talking about. But you know what it up. You can look it up. It's been scientifically proven. So like that's why a lot of straight men do like their girlfriends tingling in the butt. Like, oh, what if twirling his fingers in the butt?
Twirling the finger. Okay. Listen, if you're a freak and you're nasty, so what? That's your own business. If you with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, that's somebody's business. This is when they turn around and be shady and try to use it against you and be like, oh, you liked my finger in your booty last night. Like, that's when you're going too far. Like, don't tell people's business. Like, overall, whether it's what porn they watch or what they like sexually, don't talk people's business. That's between you and them in that moment. If they got a little freaky with you and hang on the shower rod, then let them do it. Don't go.
So is that any difference from a guy actually getting? This is kind of explicit, but fuck it. Is that different from a guy getting his ass ate out, or is that is that makes him gay if a girl do it to him, or?
Ouch.
It all depends on who's doing the ass eating.
Okay, then.
What does that mean? And so you're saying
if your girlfriend eats your ass, that does not make you gay. But if another guy eats your ass, that makes you gay. I'm sorry.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, if you like it when your girl does it, it's your girl. But if you like when a guy does it,
look, Janae Aiko says Big Sean eats her booty like groceries. So if he's eating ass, does that make him gay?
No, definitely not. He's a woman in their relationship. It's their business.
Exactly.
All right, well, you know what? We got to keep things moving. The King of Color. We can talk about this one all day. I see you guys got some intrigue buttons pressed, and
Oh, real shit Fridays, you guys.
Oh, yes, definitely. Save it. We're gonna save for the half. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Like, hey, this is what Savage is all about. We talk about whatever we feel, and I love talking about the consistency of what I got for the week. So, with that being said, mind your goddamn business. If you his man, he's your woman. Don't worry about what porn he watching. Don't worry about what y'all did that was freaky. Don't tell nobody. That's between y'all. That's y'all business. Let it be that so that we can continue to have these sexy, freaky lives that we have without being tarnished from people trying to judge us from the shit that we do. Let us be free. With that being said, we're going to keep things moving.
How come everybody does that?
Carlos.
Troy, you could do that too?
Yeah, I'm trying. You're not going to let this hard. It's a New York thing. You feel me? Anyway, we're going to kick it over to Kick It with Carlos. Let's go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Every Black person who lives in the United States at some point or another comes across one thing and they have to accept it, and that's the N-word. I'm not going away whether you should use it or not. That's not what we're going to actually, that's kind of what we're going to discuss or not. But I'm also going to go into the history of it and just is it possible to avoid or not? For this segment of my story, of my segment, I'm not going to censor it. So we're going to be using the uncensored word of nigger. So if it makes you uncomfortable to hear it, you can just turn off your podcast now. I'm just playing. Please don't do that. But I'm definitely not going to censor myself, and I'm going to let you know why later. So the word nigger, just let it marinate.
Preach, sis.
What kind of feelings does that give you? Brandon, what when I said that, what did it just give you?
You're gonna say it again.
Nigger.
Say the word again for me.
Nigger. And you can say it in different words, in different tones. I'm saying it in a very professional nigger. But they can be like nigga, you dirty nigger.
It's to me it's just how you say it. It's just how your point come across for it. That's
it. Exactly. So it's how you say the word and how you use the word. A lot of people, I use it fluently. So I'll use the GA. I rarely use ER. I'm using it now just to make a point and make people aware of how harsh it actually sounds when someone calls you it or when you hear someone else say it. And just a social manner. Oh gosh, just like that. All that got me off track. Pretty much, I had a couple fans on my YouTube on one of my videos that went viral, and I had a white lady call the police on me and got my gun detained, and I had to talk to them, and everything was fine at the end of it. But one of the comments said, "Why can't she call you that because you called yourself it even in your video?" And it wasn't just that one comment. There were several that were like that, and that got me starting to question do people really don't understand why they can't use it, or maybe understand? For me, I don't care if anyone can use it. It's literally it's under your First Amendment right to say it. It's freedom of speech unless you're intending to harm someone with it. I want to get your guys' opinion. Troy, what do you think about the word?
I don't like the word at all, whether it's ER or G or A. I don't care which way you use it. I feel like at the end of the day, there's so many words in the damn dictionary. That's the only word you can find to describe something or to make a connection with somebody. I feel like if it was something that was used to keep us down as a people, then why would you then in turn, utilize that word and just change the letter? It's still the same word, whether you use it the way they use it, the way we use it. It's still, it's a cultural thing. And I feel like it has to be death for the N-word, death for the nigga, all the kind of have a connotation.
But
how you
here's the
say
thing, though. Here's the thing. I agree with you, Troy, but it's also like that's taking people's First Amendment right to say whatever they want to say, and that's something that as Americans we are always going to have to remember. Like there are certain words I don't want them to say the faggot word. I don't want them to say the N word, but that's something that people are going to be allowed to say, and like. One thing I learned is that that's not covered under a hate crime. Like someone, I asked them, I was like, she said it right there. And they're like, well, that's not covered under a hate crime. She actually has to like say she's going to injure you or do some type of bodily harm. She can say whatever she wants to say. So I agree with you. Like we need to start taking it out of our music. But do you know the history of the word?
The actual like history, I would say probably haven't heard it once before in my life. Don't know it off the top of my head. I'm not gonna say I've never heard it, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Do you know the history of the word, Coco?
You know what? I think I have heard it, but it's purposely probably kept away from people. So
isn't it from framing back from people coming from Nigeria? Isn't that where that's coming from?
It's actually, well, there are two different types of stories. I've researched this for the longest time. So you have like the American version of the 20th century, just derogatory name, which is just a racist insult. And then you have, and they say the origin is from the Spanish for the word for black, which is negro. So that's where they're saying, so when the Spanish came and they were fighting the Spanish-American War and blah, 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 they kind of picked up, the Spanish would call the black people Negroes. And then the whites just kind of been like, oh, these are, and then the N-I-G-G, the nigger word actually came from that. Now, I've done my own research, and there is a Ethiopian origination coming from the noun Negus, which is Negus, which means the ruler or the supreme ruler of Ethiopia. A lot of the times, a lot of pharaohs in Ethiopia were known as Negus because they were the supreme rulers of the area. So a lot of people would say, like when slaves came across from Africa and from Ethiopia, they would say like, we are sons of Negus. We are sons of Negus. And and it's kind of funny because I'm a comedian, so I can see the humor in it. But the white folks are like, all right,
giggling, and I felt bad. I felt so bad.
Because they kept saying, like, they would just say niggas. And white folks are just like niggers. So like that's what they are. That's what they're saying themselves are. And they were saying like they were sons of kings, like we are kings. So a lot of the times when you know what it actually means, I don't have a problem with the word, because when you know the actual meaning of it, the Ethiopian description comes back, and even if you look at the American description, it only goes into the 20th century, into the earliest like 19th century, but this goes back into ancient times, like Negus. It's a word of like supreme ruler. It's a word of endearment. It's a word of like, we are kings. And I think that a lot of people are taking that word, like that's my husband's Instagram tag is Negus. It was like _ Negus, because he just considers himself a king. And he is in all means.
Come on, Chris.
So I really want to delve into why white people feel like they can or can't say the word. Doug?
Well, I mean, I certainly could.
Knew that was coming.
Yeah, I knew. Hey, you know, it's good. You know, it's
sorry,
great that you. No. That's a great thing that you're asking me, and it's not that you're asking me that. And the whole purpose of Savage Media Radio and this podcast is to get these people together and to flip different ideas and to hear different perspectives. And that's the essence of it. That's what we're here to do. So you're flipping it into my court, and I'll tell you where I'm going with it. I wish that word and connotation was just omitted from the universe. For me, it's not something that I think that being a person, I love people, and anytime it could be any word, fill in the blank. But if that word was associated with holding somebody down or making them feel bad, I wouldn't want to make them feel worse. I would want to remove that word from my vocabulary. So
exactly.
there's so many different connotations that circle around a word that I think, for me, from where I'm standing in California, that come from a hateful place.
Mm-hmm.
That I'd just be just as happy if I never heard the word again. But I realize that I'm not the norm. There are a lot of people like me, but there are still people that use the word in as a derogatory way or as jovial slang. But,
exactly.
I get it.
Can I point on that with the jovial slang?
Sure.
A lot of people, like, I have white friends who are just like, "Oh, you my nigga," and at first it kind of like jolted me, but I was like, "Ooh, do I?" Because this is like there's a couple words that will literally make me stand back and step back when it comes out of white folks' mouth, and it's the N word, it's the word boy.
Yes.
And it's the word son. When you say nigga, boy, or son to me,
boy or son, I agree. All three. Yep.
I'm stepping back, and I have a huge problem with you, sir.
Boy is an interesting one. Like for me, traveling through, I know both. Brandon, you're originally from Arkansas, and Carlos, you are from the South too, right?
I'm not from the South. Yes. I'm from Michigan, but I
right.
went to college in the South.
Right.
Yeah.
So Brandon, you would know that, like, whoa, when people throw the boy word, that's not cool at all. And I remember the first time.
It's almost worse than the N word.
Yes.
It's almost
worse. And I
100%. I feel you. Yep. I agree.
I remember one time I was touring through Texas, and when you're in a punk rock band and you have people with you and stuff like that, and we got hassled by the cops, which was just kind of like every 100 miles you get rousted. And I remember the first time a police officer had said, "Hey man, you better keep an eye on your boy." And I was like, "Oh fuck," because I knew what he was getting to. He's like, and it was not cool. And that's another one of those things where it's like, that rubs me the wrong way in context to how it's used, but that's just, I believe in my heart of hearts.
You can say you're my boy, and I'm like, yeah, bro, I am your boy. I'm your boy. But it's like you said, it's the context. There's this video that I watched, and I forget the man's name, but it went viral, and he kind of gave a good way to explain how to use words of endearment. Because sometimes boy, nigga, whatever you hunky, whatever you might use, I don't know, whatever your words of endearments are, sometimes it's not accepted for everyone. So the rule of thumb is, if you would say it to a stranger on the street. So like for me and my friends, I literally say like, "Oh, that's my nigga, that's my boy." I know them. I know that saying that to them is okay because we've had the conversation. We've talked about it. That literally is my friend. I wouldn't say that to a person I just met or a person at an interview that I'm interviewing with and be like, "Oh, what up, nigga?" Like I wouldn't say that because I don't know them. I don't know how they feel about the word. So that's how you should use the word. If you're white, if you're around black folks and you're comfortable and you part of the family and you've been invited to the barbecue, go ahead and say it. Say it.
Yes, invited to the barbecue.
Invited to the barbecue.
But if you are like at
a
you
win.
concert or JC, if you come on the run tour, and Becky saying nigga, and you say it around Shalonda, and she's just feeling frisky, you might get hit in the face. It depends on where you are and who you say it to.
Yep.
Right.
What do you guys got to say about that?
It's definitely important to understand that words are power. So regardless of what you say, positive or negative, words are power. So whatever you say is going to have power in it. So how you say it is going to be important because without vocal inflection, words are just words on a paper.
Really quick, sorry to cut you off. I had a fan watching on my live, and they want to know, they didn't get the joke, part of the barbecue. Brandon, can you explain what part of the barbecue means?
If you bring a multi-race, a different race to your barbecue, that means that you're basically in the family. And for you to be the only different race that's at that barbecue is really big. So that's why
There are certain things that Black folks and people of color don't bring you to. That's a funeral and a barbecue.
Because people will talk about you and criticize you once you even get out the car.
Hey guys.
Yep.
Real quick.
Yes.
Yep.
John says, Carlos, that's my boy right there.
Yes, John, you are you're my
I'm
brother
done.
from another mother with a slightly different skin color.
Right. Lit.
Oh, dude.
Oh man.
But no, that was really my whole segment, was just that word, and because everyone is just like everyone tiptoes around the word nigger, and that's why I put the thing on our Instagram. Did you guys see that? The little
Yes, I saw it
from South Park.
Yeah.
That episode had me rolling to this day. And I was like, that's so perfect for this episode, because it's a word, people. It's in the dictionary. It literally, but even Webster, gives this huge disclaimer. It's like a paragraph disclaimer about how it's derogatory and you should never use it. But then they go ahead and be like, but it describes Black people. And I was like, wow, Webster. Wow. But no, that's all. Thank you guys for kicking it with me.
Wait, real quick. Real quick, though.
I'm sorry.
John also says, I feel like I'm on the outside of the barbecue right this minute.
Oh,
John.
Well, it sounds like our barbecue is burning down. Who lives in the hood?
Everybody here lives in the fucking hood.
I'm in New York City. Stop it. Don't do that to me. Let me put my phone on mute. Let me put my phone on mute before I have to fight. Hold on. Bye.
Oh my gosh. But no, before I go, I do want you all to check out last week's episode of Real Shit Fridays. I am super proud of myself because I really did it by myself.
Aww.
And it was a little challenging. I really give it up to you, Coco. I give you props, to do the music and the intros and the outros and the everything. My show was really basic. I only had a couple songs, but everything you do, it takes a whole lot. So I definitely commend you for doing everything. I'm excited. I'm definitely didn't come up with no content for Friday, so it's definitely on you. So
I'll
while you
figure
sleep,
it
just
out.
While you sleep with Jim
Taking breaks.
I'm taking a break. It's been 2 weeks. I've had to
You
come up
deserve
with
it.
shit. But no, thank you guys for kicking it with me. Like I was saying earlier, just remember, just stay educated, stay woke, as Sean would say. Stay woke, and remember to just be yourself and make sure that you love yourself as well. But thanks for kicking it with me, and I'll see you next week.
I'm sorry. I love that music. Anyway, this is our ladies and gentlemen. We're telling us that we'll be soon launching another new show here on Savage Media Radio called Jarvis Problem, hosted by our very own John Mercer. Be sure to check out this power-packed and informational podcast about what is affecting business today and how we can make changes for a better tomorrow. Stay tuned for the launch date and announcements here and on this one. Stay tuned for your announcements and any other information on that fantastic show here, The Jarvis Problem with John Mercer, right here on Savage Media Radio, ladies and gentlemen. We're also looking for talented singers, songwriters, and rappers, and the like thereof to feature on our weekly Today in Music segment. If you would like to be considered with your work, please email us on savageonair@gmail.com, and be sure to include your name, best contact number, links to your SoundCloud, Bandcamp, or individual tracks, and be sure to include Today in Music feature in the subject line. We're excited to hear from you. If you're listening, be sure to follow us right here on Spreaker. Say that again. If you're listening, be sure to follow us right here on Spreaker. Follow us, help us determine if our content is connected with listeners, as well as allow us to be chosen for various distribution platforms and sponsors. Please remember to like, share, and follow. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move things over to Mr. Doug Carry On with some maybe politics or business. Let's go.
Wow, that sounds so. It sounds so businesslike and such.
It does.
Right?
When I hear that music, I think of a guy wearing a necktie, walking in and having a coffee
And yelling at someone.
Talking to his male secretary, Brent, and saying, "Brent, can you run down the hall and grab me a bagel and bring it back pronto, please?"
His name is usually Chad.
He might say, "Chad, bring me back a bagel, toot sweet, son." You know.
Wow.
So, it's a good thing. All right. Hey everybody, what's going on? Mr. Doug here from Los Angeles. I'm going to talk a little bit about politics today. And, you know, in my other world, I don't really get too political and talk too deep on the politics on the podcast. But I'm a guy that does follow politics, and a couple things, you know, I follow it from sun up to sundown. And part of it is I got away from politics for a real long time. As a kid, I was very involved in it when I was in high school and a young man. And then I got really far away from it, and I really wasn't too interested because I kind of saw the hypocrisy. And I kind of have come full circle now to where maybe the past 3 or 4 years I've really been paying attention to politics. For me, as we're evolving, as the world's evolving, and as America's evolving, but also almost to be able to guide my kids the right way. And so just by default, I felt like, geez, I really should be paying attention to what's going on because it's going to affect me. And now I know there's a lot of times people want to point their finger and say the government, the government, the government, the government. But I do believe that we're at a spot now where we are part of that. We are part of that structure. And right now, things are realigning. And it's amazing, and it's scary, and it's fantastic, and it's frightening all at the same time. And if you're listening to this podcast, I would ask you to please vote. Vote, 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 vote. Right now, America is being taken apart from the inside out by larger either foreign countries buying our treasury bonds or people like the Koch brothers that are financing elections. And so it's really important that if you want to see America go in a better direction as opposed to where we are now, to please, please, please vote. Vote, 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 vote. The 2018 midterms that are right around the corner, primaries have already started, so jump in and vote. A couple things, so there's that. A couple things that kind of popped on my radar today were the Department of Education, and this is, I'm going to ask everybody on this one. The Department of Education basically had offered teachers that were in college $4,000 a year if they would sign up to teach in a inner city school or a rural school or a school with not a lot of economic means to sustain itself, and that the Department of Education would give these newbie teachers $4,000 a year, and that $4,000 a year could be used to work down their student loan debt. Now, it just so happens that the Department of Education has, somewhere around 15,000 people have complained that they've taken the $4,000 that they were giving people as long as they taught it at a in-need school, and they did it for 10 years, and they're turning that money into an actual high-interest loan. Okay? So think about that for a second, and I'm going to go around the horn and say, is it me? Am I the only one calling bullshit that the Department of Education is not helping itself by sidelining teachers and offering them one thing, which is this $4,000 a year perk to teach at the schools, and even though they're teaching at the schools, that $4,000 is now turned into $5,000 and is flipped upside down, is actually now a high interest loan for almost 15,000 new teachers that are doing the right thing. So I'm gonna go with Carlos first on this one. What do you think about that? Like, have you heard anything about that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think Carlos might have left for tonight. I think it was a quick night for him.
It's a quick night for him. That's no big. Courtney, so for you, what do you think about that? Is this the first? Have you ever heard of this going on? Is this jumped on your radar screen?
You know what? I actually did hear some women in the supermarket, of all places, talking about it, but I had no idea what the whole issue was. So basically, what you're saying is now they owe way more than they taken out. Were they told that they were going to have to pay this back?
No.
Oh,
no, it was
shit.
a grant. It went from a grant,
To a
which
loan.
is, to a loan.
Oh, that's
Went
fucked
from
up.
a
Is that even
grant.
legal?
No.
And they didn't know about it.
No. And that's,
Yo.
and they didn't know. Brandon, did you hear this story?
No, but since you tell me, that's really fucked up at that
So
point.
fucked up.
And so, what happens is, we're in this spot now where if you have money and you can send your kids to private school, you're on one track.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have money and you're sending your kids to public school, and I send my kids to public school, but let's say you send your kids to a public school that doesn't have a lot of money to keep going, why would you want to sideline the teachers? And this is, as I step back from this one, I think, is this another way of keeping people, holding people down and keeping them uneducated in certain areas?
Yeah.
And like my mom was a teacher, so I know teachers, that's an incredibly difficult art to do. Not a lot of people, that's not a lot of money in public school teaching to start with. So why would you want to flip their grants that you said you were going to give them into loans?
Oh my God.
So wait, Doug,
and that,
question.
yes.
So you're
Yes.
saying these are like students, so they're about to get into the workforce, and they're about
No,
to
they're
become...
already in the workforce.
Okay.
They agreed that they were going to work 10 years at a school that was okay. So they're already there. They're a newbie right out of college. They jump in. They're like, wow, here's a way I can bang down my student loan debt. Okay. So if they work for 10 years, they can knock that loan debt down 40 grand or so, whatever, which is great. That's fantastic. I think being a teacher is a noble thing. That's incredible.
Exactly.
One person can change somebody's life. That's incredible. That's incredible. But to completely flip a deal on people that already aren't making that much money to start with it's just, my moral compass starts to freak out a little bit, and sparks start coming out.
You know what's crazy,
Troy, what
though?
do you yeah.
Real quick, you know what's crazy is that these kids are fired. I mean, not kids, but these people are fired up, ready to go, have the passion, haven't been tainted from years and years and years in the school system. They're excited, and it's kind of like they're preying on them, and that sucks, because like they're like, yes, I can get into work, I can do what I love, do what my passion is, and I get to pay down my student loan debt. Like they're super excited, and then to have this, it's kind of like a slap in the face. Like I don't see how that's legal, and how someone can just pull the rug under people like that and it be okay and nothing they can do about it. That's insane.
Well, unfortunately, I think the only thing that they can do is that they can try to file, in
like
an
a
appeals
lawsuit
court.
altogether.
So that's something. So Troy, did you hear the backstory of what we were talking about? Do you need me to bring you up to speed?
Bring me up to speed.
Okay.
I only heard like the last little couple things. I'm like, wait, what the hell's going on?
Okay, so it came out today that roughly around 15,000 teachers who agreed and took grants of $4,000 a month under the condition that they would teach for 10 years at a school that was economically challenged. Okay. And these new teachers who are taking the $4,000 through the Department of Education because they want to push down their student loan debt, now all of a sudden are told that the money that they are taking is actually a $5,000 high interest loan.
Well, right.
Exactly.
So you signed a contract saying that, you're going to be paid as in like, where I'm paying you.
It's a grant.
As in salary.
It's
you're
a grant.
getting a grant, so you don't have to pay it back. A
Right.
grant that's your money.
Mm-hmm.
To be a teacher, like they're being paid via a grant.
As long as they teach in a school, inner city school, or a school that doesn't have a lot of funding.
For 10 years.
For 10 years.
Okay. And then after this contract was signed, some people already started working and doing. How many people? Like people have been doing this for years already in the program, and they just decided.
I think they're about right now. The program's been going, I think, since 2012. But right now, there's about 15,000 teachers who had signed up for the grants had been getting the money, but now all of a sudden the script flipped, and now they're actually owing a company called FedCal, something like that, FedCal. They owe them $5,000 a year, which is accruing interest.
That's crazy.
Wait, so they're gonna pay you the $4,000, and so out of you're gonna get that regardless. But now they're saying on top of all of this, the 10 years, $4,000 is gonna bump your student loan down to whatever. Now they're saying you're gonna have to pay us $5,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
For what is the $5,000 for? Like, why am I paying you?
Because
they're the program,
they're saying that they want the money back.
They want the $4,000 a month back.
They can't say
Yes,
that.
$4,000 a year.
That wasn't
Wait,
the
they
deal.
agree-
I agree with you. But what ends up, and again, it's just one of those stories that I'm like, wow, as if we don't have enough problems motivating teachers to teach because they're getting fucking shot at, because there's no money, because there's no support, because they have to work after they get done with school at 2:30, they have to work another 6 hours because they've got to grade papers or whatever it is. But then to hamstring them and say, the money that we granted you, now you have to pay back. And that's...
You better go on a strike and get the hell out. Like, first of all, there's power in numbers, one. And at the end of the day, I don't see how it's even legal for them. If you just sign a contract for something and they renege on the contract, you know what? We didn't write the contracts, though. So at the end of the day, if you don't have somebody read it and you're going into this and they're making it look so glamorous, like when you go into a bank and sign up for things and then next thing you know, you're being charged for all this shit. You know, it's like, oh, well, you know, everything's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. Just sign here. They give you certain terms, but they don't give you all the terms. And it's things like this that happen every day, and the wool pulled under people's eyes. Like, it's crazy. Like, you know, but you got to be willing to team up together. That's the only way you're gonna make a change. Is power in numbers with a situation like this.
Right, and again, you know, who's the head of the Department of Education right now? Troy, would you say Betsy DeVos? You'd be right.
I said
Right?
Betsy DeVos.
I was actually going to say
Betsy-
that.
And Betsy DeVos, who's her husband? Her husband's the head of Amway. So again, you have this, you know,
wait. What's that about? The whole head of Amway shit. What's that about? What do you mean?
Last week.
Her husband's basically like a hardcore Republican, like Donald Trump guy. And so he cedes money to Donald Trump for his campaign. And so he had given X amount of dollars to Donald Trump. And so mysteriously his wife, who had no experience in public education, all of a sudden becomes the head of the Department of Education. So she basically bought her position by way of her husband's money. Okay. And she's the person. Now, I'm not going to say that she's the one that's flipping the script, but she regarding these 15,000 teachers, but she certainly is the one that you would want to talk to. But since she's in the back pocket of the Republican Party, I'm not sure she's going to be of much help, because usually,
she's
not all the time,
she's a puppet with no educational background. How can you be the director of something you have no experience in? That's foolishness, and that goes to show you that politics ain't shit. Because it shows you that, if you got a little money, you could be like Brady Murdoch and rip people off and live like a fucking king with other people's money. Like, no, it's not okay. No. Right.
So that's my, does anybody else want to add anything on this subject?
Real quick.
I think, yeah.
Real quick, I want to switch gears over to some local shade that we have going on in the chat. So the first thing, John said, are we going to have another tech segment with John today? I sure hope so. ... And then he goes, politics with Doug. I'm so fired up right now. It's so funny because, John, if you're listening, I never know if you're throwing shade or if you're being sincere.
Right.
He's being sincere. But I'm still, John, I think you need to purge the browsers or purge your drivers and reload reload your freaking Skype or whatever. But speaking of tech, hey John, I know you're out there in the ether listening. So this one's for you, brother. I'm kind of, this is just a blurb, a side note. Amazon down, their stock down 5%. Apple down 1%. So interestingly enough, Mr. Trump, aka 45, Cadet Bone Spurs, decided to tweet out how Amazon was going to have to restructure how it was getting its tax incentives through the government. So Trump was basically bitching and moaning that they're getting too many tax deals and that it's unfair that all the brick and mortar stores are dying, okay, and that he's going to have to raise taxes or whatever he's rambling about. So Amazon's stock dropped 5%, which is insane. And then inversely, Apple's stock is down 1% because nobody's really giving a you-know-what about their new phones. So
count me in because I don't care two shits.
Shut it up. Don't go there.
And lastly, for John, this is the last one for you. Believe it or not, around that Cambridge Analytica and Facebook supposedly either looking the other way or not having enough security systems in place to know when 50 million people's data is being purged, their stock plummeted $100 million. $100 million, and they're just now. So, wow, not only did they take a gigantic hit, that's amazing. It's like, that's insane what a big hit they took, So I'm those are my three, like, talk about tech and talk about the business world things, so kind of interesting. John, I'd love if you're in the chat room to give us a shout out and let us know what you think. Also on the same note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages out there in the inner tube, if you want us to do a segment or you want us to talk about something specific, right, or you want to give us a comment, savageonair@gmail.com. Tell us what you like. Maybe you want to hear more dick jokes. I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
That's how we found out we like games. That's how I found out that the people want games.
So I'm the first person to say I'm always looking forward to my Wednesday call, and I never know where it's going to lead.
Too.
But if you want us to, if you want us to talk about more dick jokes, you got to hit us, savageonair@gmail.com and tell us what you think. And we'll keep going from there. Courtney, you want me to ramble on one more story, or you want me to turn this thing off?
Oh, no, you can ramble real quick, though. John said he is actually fired up and more tech advice from Doug. I'm so pumped. So you do have a fan, Doug. You do have a fan.
I've got one. Put me down for one.
Yes, there we go.
John, we're bringing back the boner jokes, buddy. Don't worry.
We got a good 5 minutes or so.
Okay, cool. So the last, I'll talk about one more thing that's kind of interesting in politics and where we are. So right now in the Constitution, there's a thing called an emoluments clause. And Carlos, you're gone. I know you're a poli-sci guy at one point, but I know you're gone. If you just think about this one in the ether, I'm thinking about you. So the emoluments clause means basically that a president cannot benefit or take gifts from anybody, let alone foreign countries, without the clearance from Congress. Okay? So once again, Donald Trump, who's a very unique individual, thinks that he can kind of run roughshod and just do shit however he wants to do things. And so today was the first day that Trump and his lawyers were in a Maryland court trying to do a decease and dismiss, and it was rejected. And a judge said, no, we're not going to do this. We want to hear further evidence on some of these gifts because we believe that you're breaking the emoluments clause in the Constitution, which is a little heady, a little over the top. But I'm curious, do you think ethically a president should be able to take gifts from foreign countries? Courtney, what do you think?
Didn't I say this last week that I'm like a big stickler for ethics? I think that's fucking terrible. Like, no, I feel like everything should be. I don't know. It brings me back to that whole cheating in not cheating in sports, but what the whole bribing and how the kids get gifts and stuff from agents and all that crap. It's the same, morally the same thing. I think that's awful. I think that since Trump has his own agenda that we are not yet sure of. You never know what he's getting these bribes and gifts for and what they can turn into. So I think it's awful. I think that getting gifts in regards to anything from other people that are not a part of your sector is just all morally wrong. And you never know what those incentives can be for, because we don't know what his whole agenda is, if it's for good or for basically harming us like he's been doing for the past several months. You don't know what the outcome of that is. So I think it's awful. I think that no one in politics should be receiving anything from anybody that they're doing business with, which we're attempting to do business with other countries, even though it doesn't work out that well half the time. But, I feel like it's just morally and ethically wrong. And I feel that way when it comes to politics, sports, music, entertainment, anything when it comes to gifts and bribing and even if it's not bribing, just receiving gifts from people that are in other sectors, it's just not right. That's my opinion. I say that a lot when it comes to ethics in general, especially in business. And in turn, politics is a business. So, yep.
Right. Brandon, what do you think? Are you knowledgeable about this emoluments clause in the Constitution? And, where does it rub you the wrong way or sit kind of strange with you that Trump would be taking gifts, that there's a court case going right now about him breaking, going against the Constitution? Is that anything you want to weigh in on?
Yeah, I had a quick question. What do you mean by gifts? Elaborate on gifts.
Well, I'm going to say this, that there's a lot of it has to do with money that may or may not have come from Russian oligarchs by way of property that they purchased from Trump Tower over market value.
Got it.
So that Donald Trump would look the other way on sanctions against Russia.
See, I said, it's always for some bullshit.
So was that clear, Brandon?
Yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing about this as well. I feel like Trump has a lot of tricks up his sleeve which I didn't know that we can even. I didn't even know we can get bribed.
Mm-hmm.
For one, and then two, I didn't think anything about accepting gifts from other countries either. That's just something that I'm just now finding out myself. So this is a president I just don't trust.
Right. Troy, what do you think about that? Are you familiar with this? And what do you think about, do you think that this is the first step? Everybody, what really we're trying, what this really means is this the first step toward impeachment? That's what I'm, in a roundabout way, with him violating the Constitution and this emoluments clause, and a judge saying, no, we want more information. This case is not going to be dismissed. This sucker's moving forward, which means, I don't know if that means that we're moving in the direction of an impeachment or not, but that certainly is what a lot of people are thinking. Troy, what do you think about that?
I mean, what difference does an impeachment make? At the end of the day, he's still going to lose some other fool there. He still has the whole cabinet of fools with him. So at the end of the day, it's still going to be foolish. I need to get them all out of there. First of all, president should never be taking gifts. He's supposed to be the one person that you strive to be as a kid, if you can be. Now that, women are, running and things, you never know. So, it shouldn't be, you look at your president and you hear the things he says on him being disrespectful or him saying the things that he says and nobody cares. Like, come on, I was watching, the reality show with Atlanta Housewives, and then he got kicked off a tour for telling, saying a joke about a lady. She was talking about something serious, and the heckler told her, I said some shit to her, and she said back to her, why don't you go, don't get raped by the Uber driver tonight, because she was talking about being raped by Uber drivers, and the lady's talking shit, so she can't say that, but Donald Trump can say grab her by the pussy. So it's kind of like, wow, a comedian can't tell a joke, but a president can say whatever he wants, and, and still, be the president and do what he's doing. It's fucking, it's bullshit. They all fools. Get rid of all of them.
Right. Courtney, you said you had something to say?
Oh no, sorry. I meant at the end of the show. Don't mind me.
Okay, cool. No worries at all. Brandon, did you want to add anything else to that?
Well, I think his ass should have been impeached a long time ago because there's more than just one or two goddamn things he has done bad this far.
Exactly.
And I feel like nothing has been done so far. So just at this point, I'm just over it.
Right. Well, I do think, it's amazing that I'm going to go back one more time and talk about people voting. And believe it or not, yes, there's a huge Democratic base that votes. And yes, there's a huge independent party base that votes and a huge Republican party base that votes. But guess which is the biggest party? The non-voters. So it's up to us. It's up to us to encourage people to register. Carry them down to the voting booth if you have to, whatever it is. You vote however you vote, whatever. I would hope that you would vote for a better progressive vision of America that includes everybody. I certainly would be the first to say, I hope that's what you're going to vote for. But at the same time, I respect that you're going to vote however you're going to vote. But there are so many people that don't make it to the voting booth, and those are the people that we need to. This podcast needs to reach you. We want you. If you want some change, you are the government. You have to stand up and get to the voting booth. Do your best to learn about what you learn. Do your best to learn about what the policies are that are coming down the pike, and have a say-so. Say something, because if you don't, then you're going to get the Betsy DeVosses of the world and the Koch brothers of the world and the Roger Stones of the world that are going to write your history for your kids. And believe me, they're not going to write a good story. It's going to be a shitty story, and everybody's going to really be on the shorter end of the stick if they're not mega uber, millionaires. So please, please, please vote. The last thing I want to talk about is Roseanne Barr, who is a comedian in her own right.
Shout out to Roseanne.
Is rolling out a new show. Okay, so they rebooted the Roseanne show.
Yay.
Okay,
I loved it. It was good.
Which is a beautiful thing. But now, and that's a great thing. And guess what? There's people of different gender fluid and da-da-da-da-da. So it's kind of covering all the bases. But here's the part that's scaring me. Roseanne is a huge Trump supporter. And the question is she going to use that platform to vocalize certainly her opinion,
political views?
And I'm not. And you know what? You could say the glass people are the best people in the world, and that's your opinion, and you're allowed to say that. This is America, and that's great. But what's more interesting to me is watching the donors and the sponsors of the show. Who are the sponsors of the show? So here, my question to the group is, do we think that the Roseanne show is going to become a political hotspot, a political button for Roseanne pushing her kind of pro-Fox values and pro-Trump values? Do we think that's a yay or a nay that it may? That's the first one. And then the second one is, do we think that if that's the case, the show will be dropped or sponsors will run in the other direction? So, Courtney, what do you think about this? Knowing that Roseanne is not one to say that she's not pro-Trump. She's super, super pro-Trump. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the show will end up being a political hotspot and a political button? And do you think sponsors are going to run away?
Mm-hmm. You know what? Because she's very, very vocal about her political opinions. Very vocal, whether it be on her personal Instagram. I follow Roseanne. I love her, honestly. But that's one thing I don't agree with, of course, because I'm not a Trump supporter. But I feel like this is kind of a a firestorm waiting to happen because you know it's going to be a part of it. And plus she has something to do with producing it. So it's going to go in that direction in some way, shape, or form. And if it doesn't, if the show itself doesn't go in that direction where, you know, you see kind of like bits and spurts of politics in the show, she definitely may do something on the sidelines that could affect her show's running. You know, maybe putting something up online, which she does a lot, videos, you know, talking about Trump and supporting Trump and just Republican views and yada, yada, yada. I feel like she's walking a really, really thin line, because she may just do something in her personal space that can affect the show as well. So I just feel like she's got to watch her back, and I think that it is probably a possibility that sponsors may be like, you know, we don't want these views to be associated with our brand. So I definitely think that that's a possibility.
Right. Brandon, what do you think about that?
Roseanne is a sneaky bitch, because that was good. That was good, but I feel like that is gonna like promote people to vote for it. That if they're, you know, she's promoting him already, because like Coco said, she is very vocal. So I'm pretty sure she's gonna somehow, some way promote Trump. And I literally forgot that she was a Trump supporter. And I mean, my dad used to watch this bitch all the time, and I'm glad you reminded me of that.
That's funny. Troy, over to you real quick, and then we'll jump to the next segment. What do you think,
No
Troy?
problem. Roseanne, I used to watch her show. I thought it was pretty cool. So, you know, if she don't start talking about political shit, I think it should be fine. If she starts coming out here, I mean, she's an actress. We want to watch it because you're an actress, not for what your political views are. I don't care who you believe in. I think that's important to be the actress you were. We used to laugh and joke and enjoy it. Like, it's a sitcom. It's not a show about politics. I ain't watching NBC News. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to see that. And if it's that, please, you know, get the damn cane and get them off the stage.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up this kind of impromptu political talk with Doug.
Real quick.
You know, Courtney, go.
Real quick. John said Doug for president in 2020, Troy for vice president. I fully support this cause. We are gonna have a whole bunch of campaign commercials and smear campaigns, right? That say at the end, this commercial was paid for by Savage Media Radio. Or this is definitely gonna happen. We're gonna make this happen.
Funny. Anyway, so last thing, guys, as I was talking about voting and such, one of the big problems we have in the United States right now is we've got money in politics. And if you want to help get money out of politics, wolf-pac.com, wolf-pac.com, and that's the place where you'd want to go and learn a little bit more about how we can help get money out of politics and try to make America inclusive for everybody. Yes. That's all I got to say.
Hey everybody, welcome to I'm Still Listening. I'm your host Doug Carrion, and in this segment I'm going to be highlighting the coolest independent hip-hop, indie rock, and electronic music now available on SoundCloud. Check it out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's just about that time to hear a little bit of music from Atlanta. Again, we're going Atlanta, Georgia. The track is called Like a Savage.
Ew.
I love it. It's Trippie Redd and Lil Wop 17. Again, Trippie Redd with 2 Ds and Lil Wop 17. The track's called Like a Savage. If you like it, SoundCloud.com, Lil Wop 17. It sounds like this.
Watch her crying, laugh about it. I broke her heart in pieces, watched her crying, laughed about it. I've been hurt too many times, don't give 2 fucks about it. Shawty say she with me, but she lying, yeah, I doubt it. I gotta run this paper up, it ain't no way around it. Can't fuck with these little bitches, cause these hoes be acting childish. Got 100K on Instagram, but that pussy got mad. That woman broke my heart, I swear she turned me to a savage. But I still call her from town to town to fuck her like a savage.
And she said that she in love, I think she love me not. I just call her up and beat the fucking box. Beat the box, she in love with caught. Yeah, I'm on the block, was ready to set up shop. Yeah, bullet with some bitches out there. feel like Cambo, baby talking to my kinfolk. Yeah, this chopper make a bitch do the limo, yeah.
I broke her heart in pieces, watched her crying, laughed about it. I've been hurt too many times, don't give two fucks about it. Shawty say she with me, but she lying, yeah, I doubt it. I gotta run this paper up, it ain't no way around it. Can't fuck with these little bitches, cause these hoes be acting childish. Got 100K on Instagram, but that pussy got mileage. That one bitch broke my heart, I swear she turned me to a savage. But I still call her from town to town to fuck her like a savage.
Wow. Well, there you go. I think he's going to get savage there. Like a savage. I kind of get it. It's pretty cool. Song number 2 from Los Angeles, California, DNMO. The track's called Hollywood. It's an electronic track. If you like it, soundcloud.com. I am DNMO. Take it away.
Why do I wanna hold you? I don't know a thing about you. I don't know what feeds you, mine. I just take a dark hotel room, looking just to find you. Watching you from the side. Holding my breath more than anyone should. Can't make a mess or I'll lose you for good. And I try to hide you as long as I could. You give me a reason to like Hollywood. I've been sitting around your headlights, get my silhouette to fit right. Baby, I could help you unwind, yeah. You want me to keep it tongue tight, kissing diamonds on the inside. Anything to free your mind. Holding my breath more than anyone should. Can't make a mess or I'll lose you for good. And I try to hide you as long as I could. You give me a reason to like Hollywood.
Awesome. Hey guys, thank you for all sticking with us in this whole starting late and being all over the place. Listen, we're humans, just like everybody else, but we always try to bring you the best show possible. And I think we did that, right, guys? Right, Doug?
It was
Right,
super
Brandon?
cool. It was great. It was
Yes.
great.
Awesome. Wanted to actually pass on some information. Spreaker now has a app. So I know how annoying it is to sign in on the desktop version and to make your little profile and all that stuff. And sometimes the chat gets a little trippy, but they have an awesome app. I tested it. It runs smoothly. It's available for Android and iOS. So get on that and follow. It is so much smoother, so much easier to navigate, and it definitely leads to a much better and much more pleasant listening experience. So download the Spreaker app, available on Play Store and Android. And I have no idea what you guys use to download apps in iOS, but it's there, I promise you. But yeah, so thank you guys again for listening to Savage Media Radio. We have stopped putting numbers on them, so I have no idea what show this is. Eventually, we're going to get back to counting. Like Doug said earlier in the show, if you guys have any ideas, and if we're not talking about something you want to hear about, let us know at savageonair@gmail.com, savageonair@gmail.com. We love your opinion. We love your criticism. If you have something that you don't like about the show, we'll definitely take it into consideration. So please reach out to us at savageonair@gmail.com. I guess we are looking for a some cool bands, some cool singers, songwriters. If you have some tracks you want to share, send it to us. We want to feature some awesome artists on Today in Music, and even get your track played on Still Listening, right, Doug? You're open
Indeed.
to tracks.
I'm totally open to. In fact, you know what? It's so funny because next week I'm going to debut a listener's track. So everybody's got to tune in.
Nice.
It's an artist from St. Louis.
Nice.
If you do have a SoundCloud account, that's kind of what the scopes are here. So send us a line, but it's got to point to a SoundCloud track. Like you got to have your music on SoundCloud, which is pretty easy. Next week, it's going to be from St. Louis. Keep your eyeballs up. That was a hint right there.
Nice. It's going down, right? And one more thing, since we did open up the floor to people giving us suggestions about what the show should be about, John says that he wants more boner jokes from Doug. So I think that I, as well as the listeners, would enjoy that, Doug. We're tired of Bugs Bunny. You can just let it all out. You know what? No, we need it to be neutral. You are our neutral, like soft. Like I don't know what to compare you to. You're like the Savage Media Radio. What's that fucking guy, Mr. Rogers? There you go.
Oh, dang. Okay, now just so I'm gonna take it. Mr. Rogers is a pretty cool guy, but
he's a pretty dope guy. He
fine.
dabbed. He was pretty dope.
With the Bill Cosby
He's
sweater.
a good guy. That's
Yeah,
so
cool. So you're gonna take that and run with it, or but we love you and thank you so much for holding it down, for doing our politics segment. I really love it, and I think that's something that the listeners are really resonating to. So thank you so much. Thank you guys. Thank you, Brandon. Brandon, we heard more of you than ever tonight, and I'm so happy because I love your voice and I love your opinions, and I know that the listeners missed you.
Hi, it's all.
So definitely. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Please listen to us next week, same place, same time. And as always, stay savage.
Savage!